Hey, good morning and welcome back. Welcome back to Military and Family Matters. Yeah, so of course, we're just talking about military and then most importantly, family matters. I know with Heidi and myself, we got to Fort Eisenhower about 7 weeks ago. So we've been here for a while and we're waiting upon our follow-on orders, right? Go on our next assignment. And the conversation that always comes up between me and her is, are we staying on post or are we not staying on post? And when I sit down and take a more deeper look at it, I'm looking at the economic climate of where we are right now in 2024, going in 2025. And it depends ultimately on the location that we will wind up doing our next 48 months at. Yeah, we got quite a few locations. We could wind up in Killeen, Texas, so out there in Fort Cavazos. We could wind up in Hawaii, right on the beach. We could wind up in Fort Liberty, North Carolina. But when I think about the three locations, there might be a fourth. It could be Washington, D.C. region area as well, the DMV. So, but when I think about those four top locations, I have to break down the economies, the daycare system, the how much we'll spend on groceries, budget, and housing all together, right? Yeah, we're going to do our job, but most importantly, we have to be able to live, and then most after that, continue what we've been doing with our goals and our financial plans, and just living in general. All right, so when we talk about Killeen, Texas, moving to Fort Cavazos, right? Probably affording a house down there would be feasible, right? Maybe about $400,000 house, depending on what the BAH is, plus me and her, we both get BAH, so it's a little something different. So we'd be able to afford whatever style house that she would want, right? But at a reasonable price. I'm not trying to break the bank because I know after 48 months we'll PCS. And I know people say, well, you can rent the house out. Yeah, I'm not interested in being another landlord or having another property manager in another state. So, it's kind of challenging. Sometimes I don't want to invest into things that are going to cause me problems down the long run, right? While I understand it is appreciating asset over time, having a house, you will be able to sell the house and, probably make a good chunk of change. But it's one of those things where it's like, oh man, I'm trying to eliminate having debt, right? And be debt free. My debt to income ratio for our family, I would like for it to be a whole lot better, right? And it's improving. But going to Hawaii, we already know that Hawaii, $1 million homes could be pricey, right? People always say, oh yeah, you get the BAH, it's like $3,500, and both of y'all get $3,500, like $7,000. But you gotta ask yourself, do I want to commit $6,000 to a house on an island that I know that I'm gonna leave after 3 years, right? Probably have a problem selling it, but not a problem renting it out. But who knows? You may have a good property manager, a good realtor. They may get it sold, turn on your profit. But that's still a lot of money to put in a house, right? Fort Liberty is another conversation. You will get a lot of house in Fayetteville, right? It's one of those, when you go to this duty station, you might wind up staying forever, right? Being in the 82nd or 18th Airborne Corps, you may not be going nowhere. So having a good, solid foundation of house there, could be great. But you still wind up with the same situation. You PCS, you got to find renters, you got to sell the house. In the economically long run, on a horizon, it could be an issue. But appreciating asset. Now moving to the DMV, this is where it get tricky. The DMV, man, they have nothing but condos up there. It's very pricey. You get a little bit of house for an enormous price tag. So it's like, do we stay on the base? Do we get an apartment? Or do we find a house in between the two locations where we decided that we would like to pursue job opportunities? It's tough, right? Because you got so many people saying, just buy a house, live in it for 4 years, rent it out, then sell it and turn it into profit, which multiple people have done it. We've had friends that said that every duty station they PCS to, they bought a house. Yes, in the last 6 or 7 years, they sold them houses and made millions of dollars, which is great. But right now, interest rates for houses are substantial. So you have to understand, if you're going to be in the house for 4 to 5 years, the interest rate, it matters, but don't matter. But if you plan on being in the house for over 20 to 30 years, interest rate kind of matters. So remember, when it comes to PCS and you're looking for that forever home or that next duty station home, think about the interest rate. Think about the economic environment over there, groceries, what it's going to cost to live, how can you afford childcare, and is it feasible, and do you have to make concessions and give up something else, right? Rob Peter to pay Paul. All those things are critical when you get ready to PCS and move. So all of these different facets and factors we put on the table, and we kind of like critically think out, right? What's best? How do we make this affordable for us? And how can we come out how do we have an advantage, right, over everything else, right? Remember, stay tuned and stay informed. Thank you for watching Military and Family Matters. Talk with your spouse. Have these tough conversations, because if you do not have these tough conversations, you will be impacted later on down the line. So have them up front.